that time, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. We'll be talking to Blake in just seconds. In the meantime, let me give you some contact information. If you want to get in touch with Blake and find out more about what he's going to talk about in the next 30 minutes, phone number is very easy to remember over at Sloan Realty Group. Just call 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or you can go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. We'll repeat that info lots over the next 30 minutes. In the meantime, let's get the show started along with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Got an exciting new show. Tons of great info we'll talk about today. This is our 32nd Corona COVID-19 edition of the show, straight back to back, just kind of really allowing you all to get insight and info on the real estate market, how things are being affected. And we'll dig into that this week as well, getting you all some great information, just kind of to give you the data and insight you need to make the best decision possible, obviously. Or if you just want to talk about real estate, friends, we'll give you all the exciting info you need. For anyone that missed last week's show, we're going to talk about the brand new market numbers. They're huge last month, massive increase in sales, 40+% increase in home sales last month. Another shocking number in there as well we'll talk about. So very, very, very good numbers as well. Last week's show, we talked about the micro market numbers. That's obviously per zip code. If you ever want to go back and watch any of our previous shows, you can always just Google Sloan Realty Group. Our webpage is there, which is sloanrealtygroup.net, and all the shows are recorded. They're also on YouTube. But we'll talk about that. Obviously, have some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it, which has been great. We have some brand new data, which I thought was very interesting about the actual amount of people who moved during the pandemic, and that was from U.S. Postal Service and the address changes, and they did a whole report on that. It was really shocking to see how many people have moved so far, and that was only through the end of July. And so we have some great stuff out there. A great story we had on the list last week that we did not have time for, which was named. Fox News had an article out that basically said these are the top 10 best locations in the United States for UFO enthusiasts to buy a home. Myrtle Beach came on the top of the list, and so I really wanted to talk about that and share that. Victor Shaman shared that with me, and I really want to get to that part as well. Also, one cool thing there, looking at the easiest way to get more money for your home. This is a super simple trick. Adds $8,000 to $14,000 to the value of your home, and can be done super easy. And one quick thing as well, which I mentioned last week, but is still more relevant than ever, really, is that we have a perfect storm here. Our inventory last month was down over 40%. And so what's happening is with COVID-19, right, all-time low interest rates, you're seeing massive amounts of people move from the cities and higher populated metropolitan areas to places like Myrtle Beach, and we need inventory. And so we'll talk about that crisis and how that crisis is really creating trouble on both sides, right? A lot of buyer stuff, not as much inventory. And so we need homes for sale, and we'll talk about that as well in today's show.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. If you're just tuning in for the very first time and you're hearing this, if it sounds interesting, but you're like, why should I listen to this guy? Well, he's Blake Sloan. That's the name. He's been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, and other national publications. You may have seen him on TV, on NBC, and Fox and Friends with The Morning Show. Personal endorsements you can hear on this very radio station from Sean Hannity, from Glenn Beck, Barbara Corcoran, Gary LaLox, and more. Put it all together, it's definitely unprecedented. Now, something else that Blake Sloan could do is get you in tune with his trademark systems. He has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers that he does let people around the country use, but they're his. He can't tell you all about them because he can't give away all the trade secrets, but he's more than happy to tell about the most important part of that.
Yes, and due to all the horror stories and problems and all the things that we see in our industry daily with people's largest assets, I made a decision a long time ago that we've been doing this show, 9 years, 10 years, something like that, a long time. And the reality was I made this promise that we'll talk about this every single show, because I see it week after week after week, and even from people who've listened to the show for a while, because they make this huge mistake. The mistake is they think that all real estate agents are the same. It could not be further from the truth, right? It's just like any doctor, any lawyer. If you're charged with a crime you did not commit, you do not want just any part-time, attorney who your friend recommended that hasn't really tried a case in a very long time. And so why would people have the same mindset when they're dealing with their largest asset? Because here's why it's a problem, right? In selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, great. That puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. And that could be anything, right? From the quality of the photos. Are the photos in the right order? Does the agent answer the phone when someone calls it for a sale sign? How fast does it take them to respond to a web lead? All these variables, all the way down to negotiation, data, pricing, all this stuff. But if any of those variables, 118 of them, are mismanaged in any way, what happens is it costs you your hard-earned equity. Sometimes leave $10,000, $15,000 on the table, or the property does not sell at all. We see both of those daily, because what happens is it's just hard for one single agent to manage 118 different variables on one property. And now you add on top of that, most agents get multiple listings, right? They have service multiple ones at the same time, and the ball usually gets dropped somewhere, somehow, that keeps your property from selling, or it costs you your hard-earned equity. And so if you look at that, right, the difference is that any of those balls can get dropped, it costs you the money. And so what we did, and what makes us different, is we identified every single variable. So we know exactly what happens in the exact same order. We create a system that's proven and repeatable, and it creates maximum leverage at every single point. So point one, it's like a domino, right? We create leverage for our client. Point two, we create leverage for our client. And we manage that proactively with technology and people on a team to allow us to give our client a huge competitive advantage on the back end. And so that system we designed is called the Guaranteed Sold System. The only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. That's a huge contrast from how most agents operate. You have one agent comes in, they usually do the 3 Ps. One, they promise the world to get a listing. Two, they put it to MLS. And three, they pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they put it to the MLS. They're down the street trying to get the next listing from your neighbor. Why is that? Well, they're trying to survive in the business. And it's in today's marketplace with the technology and all the websites and everything out there, it's nearly impossible for one single agent to execute all those variables at the same time. And so we designed that system. And like Dave mentioned, it's exclusive to us here because I designed it. We licensed to other agents in other parts of the country, but it works very well. And that's why you see our properties sell faster and for more money. On the flip side of that, guess what? There's 100+ variables for buyers out there, and each one's handled correctly. That puts money in your pocket. You save money when you buy, and you get the property you want. If anything is handled incorrectly, aka the agent drops a ball at some place, that could be anything from their speed of response, how fast can they get you in the property to help you get the best financing. All these items, right, have to be managed proactively with the same exact thing. We created what we call the Unfair Advantage home buying system. Get you priority access to foreclosures, distressed sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation, both in purchase price all the way through to the closing table after the home inspection, to allow you to make sure that you're protected by a system and a team of people. And so both those are designed to do one simple thing, to give you a huge competitive advantage. But if you're listening to this, you owe it to yourself to reach out and learn more about it, because I hear horror story after horror story where people make this mistake of thinking that all agents are the same, and it could not be further from the truth. There's some that makes us the top 1% in North America, and it has to do with those proven, repeatable systems. So if you want to know more about that, reach out. Don't make the mistake, and definitely don't be a horror story. Give us a call, 843-808-SOLD.
Yeah, we'll definitely hear more about the success stories a little bit later on, and maybe some of the horror stories as well. But coming up in just a minute, we're just getting started with the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show. We'll find out what's going on the market right now around the area, and find out what the mortgage rates are looking like as well. Some of the most important numbers you're going to be hearing all weekend long. That's all coming up. More numbers? Yeah, you can call Blake at his office at Sloan Realty Group, 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Hey, if you were in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Hannity here with some important advice. Now look, I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot, cold, moderate markets. And one of the lessons I have learned is this: hire the agent that knows how to create the most demand for your home. Now, reminding you to create demand in this market, no question, there's only one real estate agent I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, he services the entire Myrtle Beach area, attracts hundreds of buyers every week, and sells a home on average every 24 hours. Now, that helps you generate multiple offers and sell your home for the most money possible. Plus, it's like getting an immediate offer on your home, because if your home doesn't sell for the price and the deadline you agree to, you will have it bought for cash, and he offers flexible fees. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Blake is on this. Sloan Realty Group. The phone number is 843-808-SOLD. You can go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com to find out more information. More information coming up next on what the rates are looking like this weekend, but what's the market looking like now, Blake?
Yes, it's crazy still, which is awesome. I think we'll see it slow down as we come into the holidays, post-election. I mean, it's just we're a seasonal market, but it has been absolute craziness. And obviously a lot of that has to do with the COVID-19, all-time low interest rates, all kind of things that we're seeing here. But like right now, if you look at single-family home sales from last month, huge jump. So we compare basically September versus September. Sales were up last month 42.8%, massive jump, right? And so, for example, there's 714 home sales, right, just last month versus 500 in September 2019. So a huge jump up there when you're watching that, which is amazing news. The great part there too, sales price, median sale price up 12% for single family resale homes, which is great news. 270,000 even is the median home price. Now, if you look at average sale price, which can be affected a little easier there, the price is up 17.3%. Huge jump, $348,408. Huge jump there. We're scraping, all-time records in regards to what we're seeing here from a pricing standpoint. And so that means obviously it's a great time for home sellers. Why is that? Because there's a ton of money coming from outside of our area into Myrtle Beach, a much higher average sale price in those areas coming here, and you're seeing that effect now. What the biggest, I'd say one of the most important numbers here of this week's or this month's numbers, inventory. We have an inventory crisis right now. Inventory right now is down 46.2% from the same month last year, which is a huge drop, down to 2.8 months of inventory. And so one of the lowest I've ever seen it since like 2005. But ultimately what you're seeing here is that it's a massive seller's market. There's just not a lot of inventory. We've had some buyers recently, start to get frustrated. If you go back to my shows like a year ago, I talked about this ultimately may happen because we see it with some of my friends in my networks across the country. For example, Colorado, parts of California are seeing that same inventory struggle, and buyers get frustrated because they're not making good offers up front. They're going to miss out. Well, because there's a lot of outside money coming in. And so what that means is we all know that real estate is always supply and demand driven. So if sales are up 40+%, right? It was 43% increase in sales last month. Inventory is down 46.2%. Where do you think that pressure is put? The pressure is put on price, and that's what you're seeing drive up. The reason you're only seeing a cap there at 12-13% because appraisals a lot of times are limiting that, where sometimes we're seeing the appraisal come in short because it cannot keep up with demand and how fast the prices are moving because they're looking at data that's in arrears. And so we've been able to help a lot of our clients get that negotiated in some cases and get some of that money up by finding an error in the appraisal or something like that, because some of these appraisers are just so backed up. We have kind of a secret weapon we use sometimes that allows us to be able to go in, analyze the appraisal, find some mistakes, get another appraisal, or at least get that corrected where we can get the max amount of value. And so bottom line, the most important numbers from this last month, sales up 40+%, 43%, months of inventory down 46.2%. I do think that we're going to see a slower pace of sales in the next 2 or 3 months. Take advantage of this right now. If you're a home seller, right, you want to strike while the iron's hot. If you've been listening for a while, you're thinking about it, strike while that iron's hot. We have all-time low interest rates. We have really all-time low inventory. We have a massive amount of buyers from outside of our state coming here that's spending money. That will stop, right? As some of these lockdowns ease up, people start to go back a little bit normal life. You're seeing some of that pain be less on them up north, and they're obviously another part of that. You've seen a lot of people already move, right? We were talking about this last week. Eventually, the window closes, right? And so we're seeing that happen right now. I watched the weekly numbers, which I'll talk about in a second. They are down slightly, and also has to do again with seasonality. And if you look in historically, interest rates do tend to rise after elections, so that's something to keep in mind when you're talking about strategy. As interest rates go up, money's obviously more expensive, less people tend to buy, and you're going to see that hurt a little bit. So if you've been thinking about selling or been on the sidelines, you want to strike when the iron's hot. The two most important numbers this week or this month is sales 40+% increase last month, inventory 46.2% decrease. Cash in while the sales are up and the inventory is low. That's a huge opportunity for somebody out there right now. If you look at showings per listing, which is how much buyer traffic is each listing getting right now versus the same month last year, showings up 56.1%. So 56.1% more buyers are looking at properties right now for single family home sales than they were the same month last year. That's great news for Myrtle Beach, right? And so I don't know if it has to do with aliens or location or what, but we'll talk about that here in a second. So great news for home sellers. Again, I do just my expertise, my opinion on this is that we're going to see this, kind of taper off a little bit through November, December. You have a great window. Why is that? Well, the fall market's very strong. I just came recently on an airplane back from, I think I told you last week, from some other business people I was with. And literally the first, 25 suitcases were all golf gloves, right? All golf clubs. Everybody's in that golf season. There's a different type of buyer we have in town who tends to avoid the crowds. They tend to avoid, when kids are out of school, and you're seeing that happen right now. We're also seeing that happen when people are buying. And so take advantage of that as a home seller. There's still a huge window where people do push, right? So some of our biggest months in closings are in December. And you don't want to wait till January, February when the photos don't look as good, when people may not be moving as much. And that's just something to keep in consideration if you're thinking about moving. There's no telling where interest rates are going to go here in the future. So into condos really quick, we'll go to condo resales. Condo sales last month performed phenomenal, 31.4% for condo sales, which is awesome. They were they were lagging behind resale homes for the past few months. And so great news there, being very close to that. Sales price for condos, great news. Median price up 14.8% at $155,000 even. You're looking at average sale price up 20.1% for condos, 194,309. We've been crushing it with condos lately, both on the ocean front, golf course, non-golf course. Sold 2 townhomes this week. I think we'll talk about one of those in our success stories. But the bottom line is we're seeing massive amounts of buyers. You're seeing some buyers who can't really find the house they want in their price range, so they're moving into condos now too. And so it's an interesting dynamic in what we've seen overall. But the bottom line is our number one struggle every day is just finding properties because there's just not enough out there. If you look at showings per listing for condos, up 33.3%. This is in the entire MLS, right? This is across all the way from Georgetown to North Carolina line, all the way out past Aner into all the areas pretty much on the Grand Strand. It takes into account all this data here. So that's great news for everyone out there. The bottom line is we're seeing an opportunity. The perfect storm we talked about, COVID-19, right? People moving from the metropolitan areas, higher population. They want less dense populations. I was just watching the same thing that Joe Rogan was talking about, and his is a huge one, not the biggest podcast online, but talk about moving to Texas. He said, look, man, you talk about, something like COVID-19, obviously moved from California to Texas. There are multiple reasons, but I didn't realize that one of his biggest reasons was just the population of how overpopulated he was in LA there. And so we're seeing a similar type thing. People move here because of affordability, a little bit less strict on lockdowns. And so one of the things that's driving that we talked about last week was interest rates. Last week's show was 3.00%. We scraped an all-time low again last week. Right now, we're very, very close to that, 3.03. So great numbers there. Super affordable. Take advantage if you're thinking about locking in the next few weeks. 15-year fixed rate right now, 2.57%. A 30-year FHA loan, 2.43%. We had so many people that we're seeing lock in first-time home buyers for much less than they were renting for, which is amazing. A jumbo loan, 3.40%. And a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage right now, 2.79%. And so if you're thinking about selling, take advantage of it. There's massive amounts of buyers. I do feel that window will close. When tracking our weekly numbers, if you go back, right, there's 2 types. We look at the monthly numbers, which is everything that closed the previous month. That data is obviously a little bit older because it's always in arrears. So I try to look at real-time data for my team, and I look every week, the previous 7 days, how many properties got on the contract. If you remember during COVID-19 lockdown, it went down to 350, 400 properties. It peaked out about 800, 850 properties a week. The last 7 days, we had 713 properties going to contract, 180,536,000. So there's still a lot moving, right? This is very busy to see this in this time of year. And so take advantage of that. I do think we'll see the pedal come off a little bit, but we're still performing very, very well. This will probably be one of the biggest fall and winters we've had in a very, very long time. Just because so many people are moving here right now. So if you've been listening for a while, if you got a friend or relative, share this data with them. Look, sales are up over 40%. Inventory is down over 40%. You want to take advantage of that as price moves on and interest rates are scraping all-time lows. If you want to know more about any of this stuff, myself, my team are more than happy to share our knowledge. We train on this so much. Give us a call, 843-808-SOLD.
All right, that's the easy thing to do. Give like a call at his office. Remember, if you're looking it up, it's under Sloan Realty Group. Make sure and get that correct. Sloan Realty Group. 843-808-SOLD is the phone number. Go online to BlakeSloan.com, BlakeSloan.com. Coming up in just a minute, your hot buyers alert. We got success stories. Hopefully not too many failures. I mean, 843-808-SOLD. Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaBox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges of life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract.
About 6.5.
Okay, cool. We'll do success stories, and I'll talk about the UFOs for sure.
Markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com, or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Give Blake a call at his office at 843-808-SOLD. That's Sloan Realty Group. Time right now for your hot buyers alert. Blake and his team working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers. And you heard the inventory problems they're having earlier. It's just amazing that there are no homes available. So if you have a home and you are looking to sell anywhere in the range from 150 to 3.5 million, 150,000 to 3.5 million, give Blake a call right now at that number that I told you about, 843-808-SOLD. Why? Because people are looking, not just a couple people, not just a couple hundred people, and not just once a month or so. Blake has over 59,000 people on his website actively looking on a regular basis, maybe several times a day, and looking at tens or dozens of homes. So get your home out there and get in touch with Blake.
It's crazy. And if you guys go back to the archives of the show, like early pandemic started, everybody's scared. I was scared when the lockdown happened about business. And I said, look, I'm doubling down. I'm keeping the pedal to the metal. I made a declaration on this show, and we didn't. We spend mass amounts of money, right? How do we get this many buyers? We outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. So if you ask us, Blake, what makes you different if you're thinking about selling your home? Here's the deal. I'm spending massive tens and tens of thousands of dollars every month driving traffic before you ever even call me, capturing buyers from all over the country. And so, like Dave mentioned, these are real buyers, username, password account, who are searching massive amounts of homes. Right now, I got in the site, Connie and Bill Lee. They're from Islip Terrace, New York. I'm not sure where that's at, but Islip Terrace, New York. She's been on the site 765 times, right? So that's a huge one there. We got Bob Akins from Lawrenceburg, Indiana on the site right now. We got Stan Rodak from Newington, Connecticut. I'm reading these on the fly. So the reality is we got Jonathan from Rose Inlet. And we got basically Carlos from Colombia. And the reality is they're from all over. We have a global reach here. And so that's what makes us a lot different. So if you're thinking about selling, or anyone you know, your coworker, your friend, whatever it may, if they mention real estate, say, dude, here's the deal. You got to call Blake. Save me in your phone, 843-808-SOLD. Why is that? Because inventory is down 40+%. Sales are up 40%. And we have massive amounts of buyers from all over the country. And so you can probably see my problem. Literally more buyers than there is inventory on the market right now. And so if you're thinking about selling, we're getting our clients a lot more than they think. Sometimes $10,000 and $20,000 more than they thought they could get. And if they would have sold their own, could have cost them a lot more. And so that's a huge thing right now. Really quick, I want to get to a couple great success stories. My team's been crushing it through this, been pushing so hard through the whole pandemic. And so big shout out to Dominic, his wife. They have 2 little kids. They were living in a 2-bedroom condo, needing more space for their growing family. Thankfully, Dominic found us online. If you're hearing all the amazing success stories on this radio station, been working with us to help find a larger home for his family. So we have 2 teams, buyer team, seller team, right? We help find the one on the buy side. His concern was it's a delicate dance, right? Do you buy first or sell first? And we're very good at doing this. And so if you're in that situation, you need an expert, because if you buy first, right, you could be stuck with 2 homes. If you sell first, you're stuck with no homes, and that's where our guarantee comes in. But the reality is, once you found the right home, we launched our Global Marketing Blitz, professional photos, our virtual reality tours, drove massive traffic. Within a couple of weeks, we received multiple offers, putting under contract for 99% of asking price. Now him and his family are able to move into a larger home seamlessly, much easier with confidence and not worry about paying 2 mortgages. So another cool one. This is something that we're very proud of too. Debbie's fiance unfortunately passed away recently. Left her his townhome in North Beach. She already has a home that she lives in. Didn't want to pay 2 mortgages. Didn't want to deal with renting it, and she wanted to sell it for maximum dollar. but she didn't want to have to put a lot of work into or anything. And so we helped design an as-is strategy without her putting any cash in. Thankfully, she was referred to us by an amazing radio listener. We came in, designed custom marketing plan, launched global marketing blitz, professional photos, drove massive traffic within just a couple of days, had Debbie an offer in our townhome, purchased as-is from the buyers for almost full asking price. Now she has to worry about the burden of 2 mortgages, and she put maximum dollar in her pocket, which is awesome. So very proud of that. How much time I got? So one more really cool. Patrick on our team had Richard and Megan. They looked for a place to retire from Pennsylvania. They came down here. We're calling off for sale signs. Thankfully, they contacted us, and we set up on our service within 3 days coming down. Found the perfect property on Myrtle Beach, and beat out several other buyers. Ended up with a great deal. It appraised $35,000 more than they paid for it, which is awesome. And here's another interesting one. Katie on our team had Veronica and Ron that moved here this recently from Arizona. That's a rare one for us to get. Retiring, looked here, got them in, got a condo, and I got an amazing place. And she helped beat other people to that. And so just be part of that. We mentioned a couple weeks ago the horror story. Talked about Terry. Terry left $90,000 on the table by selling it himself, right? He sold for $520,000. And we could have got 610 with us within a couple of days. And so that's how crazy the market is right now. Literally, this guy cost himself $90,000 by night calling us because it was a high-end home. Wasn't sure the data, was using online data like a Zillow or something. That's not accurate because the market's moving much faster than some of these things in the rear. So if you want to know more about that, reach out, call me for sure. 1 minute left for 9 seconds. So I've been talking about this. This is interesting. I think I told you about this last week, Dave. We didn't have time. FoxNews.com. These are the 10 best locations in the United States for the UFO enthusiasts to buy homes. Like, all right. And Myrtle Beach, South Carolina is the #1 place in the country to spot an alien with the lowest median home price. So that's pretty cool, right? Did you guys talk about that in your show? Or?
Yeah, I mentioned it after you mentioned it to me. So yeah, you had the scoop.
Cool. Yeah. So check it out. Basically this national survey came in. Myrtle Beach came in #1 on the list in the country to spot an alien with the lowest median home price under $168,000. That data is a little bit old. Other cities, Columbus, Ohio, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, their median price is a little bit higher. And so very, very cool stuff there for us, which is interesting. And one thing really quick is a CNBC article I was reading to share with my team this week. Homes sold 2 weeks faster in September due to an unusual surge in demand. Guess what? We're right in line with that. And it talks about coronavirus being part of that, people escaping metropolitan areas. So the bottom line is, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you want to know more about the market, just call us. It's crazy right now, but we have experts who can talk to you in detail for sure.
Absolutely. We'll give Blake a call. The phone number is easy to remember as well. It's 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. If you're looking them up, it's Sloan Realty Group. Remember that. Or just go online to BlakeSloan.com. BlakeSloan.com. A lot of great information as always, Blake. We'll see you again.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next week, tune in for another advantage, or another episode, rather, of the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Selling your home doesn't have to be filled with drama or having to pay hidden fees. And your friend Sean Hannity